Okay guys, I'm here today with the great John Danaher again, huge honor for me. Guys, I just came here to New York City and I couldn't not visit John, so I came here to the Renzo Gracie Bronx, beautiful gym. You teach here every Monday
nights, yeah.
Cool. And guys, the next instructional video that we are doing for John is all about the open guard. The open guard go for the faster. That's the fundamental instructional series that John is doing. So today John is going to explain here to us all about the open guard, and super excited to hear and learn from you.
Thank you. With regards to the Go Further Faster series, this is designed ultimately to, as the name implies, to get you moving in the right directions in the sport of Jiu-Jitsu and make as much progress as you can in a short time. All of the topics selected are considered to be the 15 most important positional skills in the sport of Jiu-Jitsu. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that probably for your long-term development in the sport of Jiu-Jitsu, the number one will be open guard. Okay, I think it's fair to say that the most distinctive feature of Jiu-Jitsu as a grappling sport, remember there's many different kinds of grappling sport, wrestling, judo, sambo, and so many alternatives out there. The single most distinctive feature of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which sets it aside from the others, is the incredibly heavy emphasis on guard position. And as much as we love closed guard, it's absolutely fair to say that the majority of our time in guard position is spent in open guards. As such, your development with the skills of open guard will largely determine your overall development in the sport. That's why we put such a heavy emphasis upon it. Now, unlike other forms of guard, half guard and closed guard that have been covered already, it's not an area of knowledge which can be put into a compartment. It entails the study of many different forms of guard. Okay, open guard refers to any situation where my feet are apart from each other. When we look at closed guard, it's just one position, and as a result, you can compartmentalize all the skills into a pretty coherent little system. With open guard, you've got literally dozens of variations of open guard. And within each one of those variations, there's sub-variations and a massive number of moves that can apply to each one of those. So the topic is potentially massive to a degree which half guard and closed guard simply aren't. And so the first question that you're going to run into and the first problem that you're going to run into is a complexity problem. Okay, how am I going to manage so many alternatives when I'm under stress? This opponent of mine is trying to put me under stress and pass my guard, and here I am juggling 10,000 alternatives. What the hell am I going to do here? How am I going to say, okay, I'll go with option A when there's 2,000 options out there, that any one of which I could have chosen? And so the big issue you're going to face when you first start the study of closed guard is, okay, if there's 10,000 options, which ones do I choose? Which ones should be the ones which I focus upon? Now, in time, you'll start to make your own choices. But what I will say is this: even though there is a vast amount or a vast number of different alternatives, choices of guard, grips that you can use from guard, sub-variations, etc., the underlying principles which you're going to be using in open guard scenarios are few in number and pretty simple to understand. It'll take you a lifetime to actually enact them to the standards that you want to, but getting your start in Jiu-Jitsu from open guard, there's a small number of basic principles that we work with, which I'll outline in this video. And no matter how complex the overall position of open guard may seem, always come back to those simple conceptual principles, and you'll have a lot easier time navigating that complexity, which can thwart many beginning students when they go to work open guard. In the video, I talk about 8 foundational principles from open guard scenarios. Let's look at one of them. This is the idea of double directionality. Whenever we go to apply a force to an object, the most efficient way we can apply it is what we refer to as a coupled force, where you have two forces acting at two ends of a lever in opposite directions at the same time. Okay, so for example, almost all of the main submission holds rely on coupled forces. If you want to create a tremendous tearing force on an object, the best thing you can do is to have two forces operating in opposite directions at the same time, and you will tear things. So when you go to tear a piece of paper, the easiest way for you to do it is to hold the paper, tear east and west, and it's easy. So as much as possible, we want to exert forces upon a resisting opponent. We want to use coupled forces. Double directionality refers to exactly that. When I go to sweep an opponent, I never just want to push in one given direction. Rather, I want to create a force going to the east in one part of his body, and then in a different part of his body, a force going to the west, so that you get tremendous rotational torque upon an opponent, and as a result, your sweeps have a much greater effect. There are many sweeps in the sport of Jiu-Jitsu which rely upon double directionality. Let's have a look at some of them. If we have Bernardo on two knees in front of him, looking at an open guard scenario, this is the ideal time for us to start using this principle of double directionality. Okay? A classic example occurs when we go to employ the hook sweep or sumigaeshi. If I start off with a training partner here in front of me, we're a grip fighting in the usual kind of fashion, we're going to go through and take a cross grip on our training partner. I want to expose Bernardo's belt, okay, the belt as it runs down his back. Now you can see Bernardo is quite a bit taller than I am, and it's going to be difficult for me to go over the top and get to my opponent's back. It would be ludicrous on my part to try and just reach naively like this and offer underhooks to Bernardo where he could easily come in and start passing him. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with a grip strategy where we get a hold of a straight lapel grip on our training partner that forms an immediate barrier between myself and my opponent. I take him a little off balance, and then I switch to a cross grip. Okay, so I start with straight, then from here I push, open and expose the cross grip, and lock it up like so. Now I take my foot to my training partner's knee, and I create an off balance, which exposes my training partner's belt. I don't grab the belt at the spine, I grab further around to the side, just like so. Now when Bernardo goes to recover his posture, you've got that good belt grip, and as a result, you're able to pull yourself into a good sweeping position, okay? Now, as I get a grip on my training partner's sleeve and push the hand across the body, I'm going to go into the basic hook sweep. When we do this, we can expect our opponent to tripod out with the legs. If Bernardo was naive, let's put your knee down, Bernardo. If Bernardo was naive and just kept his two knees on the floor, it'd be very, very easy just to sweep my opponent straight over and take top position. But when you're dealing with skilled opponents, they're never going to accept that, and they're going to take their two knees off the mat. So here we have our training partner here, we lock up, and when I go to perform the sweep, his two knees come up off the mat. And this is something we can pretty much always expect from a skilled opponent, okay? Now, as I go to complete the sweep, you can see all of his weight is here on this foot. His left hand is controlled by me, okay? His right foot is completely off the mat, and his base is held by a combination of his right hand on the floor and his left foot, okay? I'm gonna take my foot, my bottom foot, I'm just gonna reach for Bernardo's shin using the sole of my foot. I curl my foot around his shin and contour my foot to make a good purchase on his leg. Now my left leg begins a lift out to the west, while my right foot hooks and sweeps to the east. And as a result, we're able to trip our training partner over and end up in top position with a nice rotation. The idea is that coupled force creates a very strong torque in opposing directions, which turns my opponent's hips towards the ceiling and creates a very strong sweeping effect. So once again, we start off here in front of my training partner with a straight grip, and I feed into a cross grip. I take my training partner out and balance, he's going to push on the knee, and I expose the belt. Now from here, we lock up with our training partner, and I go in, attacking with sumigaeshi, the hook sweep. My opponent goes into an intelligent defensive reaction, and you can see he's coming up off the floor with his two knees, okay? Now, from here, I just take my foot and hug onto his foot like so. As my left foot lifts, the right foot pulls away on my training partner's foot, and we get a nice drop straight down to the mat, okay? If I didn't employ this method, it would be quite easy for Bernardo to ride out my sweep. So as I lock in here, and I try to take him over, you can see Bernardo just takes his right knee through and collapses my my legs, okay? And now I'm in a very compromised position. It'd be hard for me to work out of here, okay? So what we want to do is make sure that we turn his hips and chest to face the ceiling as soon as possible. The longer Bernardo rides my top leg, the greater the chance of him bringing his knee through successfully and avoiding my sweep. So you can see here, if there's a time delay, the longer we hang in this position, Bernardo sweeps his knee through and defeats my hook, and now I'm in a severely compromised position. So we want, as much as possible, to go through on a training partner, get our grips, lock up, and as we get that man up, immediately we just reach for his foot, okay? It's a pretty easy reach. And then from here is my left foot lifts, the right foot takes away his one base of support, and we end up in top position. So this will be an excellent example of using two forces in opposing directions at the same time to create a much greater rotational turn upon an opponent and sweep them down to the mat. A second great example of this general principle in operation would be a classic scissor sweep. As we work from the seated position, just like so, we're going to go through on our training partner and take either cross or straight lapel grip, okay? We're going to go through and get a grip here on our training partner's top forearm. So Bernardo goes to pull away from us, it won't be easy, okay? Now, we post our foot right here on our training partner's hip, and then I take my second foot across my training partner's body, my knee coming up into the armpit, just like so, okay? As my foot comes down to my training partner's knee, you will see there is a force given in two opposite directions. My left leg is pushing out like so, bringing Bernardo's head over the endangered knee. My second foot comes down here, and as we start that scissoring effect, you'll see that again there's clearly two opposing forces here, one working to the east, the other to the west. And you can see, as a result, you get a very quick turnover down to the mat. So once again, we start off, we go through and take a straight grip and lock up like so. So I pull my body in, we find ourselves down in the perfect position to start going on the attack, okay? You can see already the left leg starts taking the weight onto one knee. I want Bernardo's head going over his own knee. Then from here when we drop, we get a good hook here. As I pull physically along the mat with my right leg, my left leg goes in the opposite direction and gives us exactly the sweep we're looking for, okay? Now, scissor sweeps, that's the one most of you are familiar with, can also be done extraordinarily well out of a different form of guard, a spider guard. We have an opponent down on two knees. It's not a difficult thing for us here to get double cuff grips on a training partner. When he goes to pull away, it's a difficult thing. Why? Because we're taking our hands and converting them to a palm up grip. This creates a line of tension through my training partner's jacket, extends all the way up to the back of the shoulders. So when he goes to pull away from us, it's difficult, okay? My elbow's close to my hips, makes it even more so. For a situation where I place my foot here on my training partner's hip, my second foot goes here into the bicep, and we start to drop down towards the mat. From here, I go to an elbow rather than a shoulder. Now, if Bernardo's in good stance, head over you in the center. When Bernardo's in good stance here, what I want to do is I want to take his elbow and bring it higher than his head, just like so. That's what takes the man out of balance. I want to create a situation where I'm no longer facing directly into my opponent. I bring his elbow over his own head, and I pull back so that I face out to the side. And as a result, we get a beautiful sweep out, like so. Now we add in the scissoring effect. We get our initial grips, double cuff. We strengthen it by going palm up. We place a foot on the hip. We get our spider guard set in a seated position just like so. Now from here, we get that elbow high up over our training partner's head. We bring our foot down towards the floor, and there's the perfect scissoring action. My left foot creates a force out to the east, but my right foot clips and places the man down. When Bernardo tries to get back up, the inside foot position still makes it very difficult for an opponent. It's hard for him to recover. And it's relatively easy for us because we're on an elbow to heist up and start driving across our training partner's body and take top position. So this would be another fine example of taking an opponent and applying two forces in opposite directions at the same time. Different guard, same principle, okay? Now let's look at a fourth way in which we can use this simple principle. Bernardo, please come on this side. We're gonna start off with an arm trap. we have an opponent working in our seated guard. Previously, when we worked Sumigaeshi, we were working here with our training partners' lapels and getting through to a belt. This time a little different. Instead of working at the lapels, sometimes they're difficult to get a hold of, your opponent defends them well, we're going to go through and we're going to take a cross cuff grip here on our training partner's hand and go through underneath. Again, we're trying to create a line of tension that goes from the forearm all the way up to the back of the shoulders and get our elbow close to our own body. So when Bernardo goes to yank away from me, it's a difficult thing. Now, my second hand finds the seam that runs down the back of every sleeve and locks in, just like so, at the armpit. Now when my opponent goes to yank away, it's incredibly difficult. This 2-on-1 grip is incredibly controlling. So once again, from a situation where I'm denied my training partner's lapels, I go through, I take a cross cuff grip and go through and create that line of tension that sets up the grip that we really want, this 2-on-1 grip. As Bernardo goes to yank away, it's not easy. Now from here, we draw the man forward and we're going to shoot our arm all the way around our training partner's shoulder. My second hand goes through and becomes an underhook here on my training partner. So when Bernardo goes to pull away from me, it's exceptionally difficult. If we bring the camera on this side, we'll see that the elbow, my elbow, locks over Bernardo's elbow. So his right elbow is trapped inside mine. If he wanted to base out on the floor with it, it would be physically impossible. Now what we want to do is we want to get him up in the air with his hips higher than his head. That's pretty easy to do. Once you get your opponent floating here, his only real recourse is to try and reach for the floor with his feet as a base of support. It's hard because the hips are higher than the head. But as your opponent gets better and better in skill level, he'll be able to touch a toe on the floor, like so. I'm going to tilt my training partner. Right now he's symmetrical right in front of me. I tilt him over to the side and he starts reaching for the mat. As he continues to reach out for the mat, I just place my foot here. And you can guess where we're going. As my right foot lifts, my left foot cuts across in the opposite direction. And as a result, we end up with a beautiful sweep from bottom position. So once again, I'll demonstrate it this time facing directly towards you so that you can see the foot action. We start off with our 2-on-1 grip, like so. We draw the man in towards us. We go an elbow deep around our training partner's arm, and we take an underhook here. So when Bernardo goes to yank away, it's a difficult thing to do. We bring the man up into the air, he starts reaching for the floor, and then from here, I take my foot and hook onto his. And as a result, we're able to hit a very nice economical foot sweep, where my right foot lifts to the east, and my left foot cuts away to the west. As a result, we get a very economical and effective turnover, okay? So what have we got here? We've got 4 different sweeps employed from a variety of different guards that all rely on exactly the same principle. That one guiding principle of double direction, of applying 2 forces at the same time in opposite directions, applies in many different kinds of guard for many different kinds of sweep. Once you start to see open guard in this light as a position filled with myriad possibilities, but all united by a small set of simple, easy to understand principles, you will be able to take what seems like tremendous complexity in this position and reduce it to a few simple concepts, principles, which will give you direction in a chaotic live training situation. And you'll quickly start sweeping people effectively from bottom position.
John, that's awesome. Right in the beginning when you started talking about the open guard, while you were talking like how many thousands of options we have in the open guard, I was thinking like butterfly, de la riva, spider guard, lasso guard, reverse de la riva. But it's amazing what you did here, because you took one principle and you applied this principle in like spider guard, butterfly
with an arm trap.
With the arm trap. So that was really cool. And it was amazing to see like how you have some details that nobody sees. So when you were doing the spider guard, for example, I see everybody making grip in spider guard, but I never saw anybody explaining the way that you explain, like turning the...
Look what happens when Bernardo does this. when he turns the hand, you'll see a line of tension starts to run through my jacket, and it extends all the way up to the back of my shoulder. So now he doesn't just control my hands, he's controlling my whole arm and even my shoulder girdle. So when he puts a foot on my bicep, for example, the tension I feel here, it's a very difficult thing for me to deal with. Okay, so as much as possible when we make grips on people, we want to get the most mileage out of those grips. And subtle details like this really make a difference. And this will apply in every grip that we make upon the jacket. Lapel grips have their own elements. And even how we go to control the cuff of the gi is different depending whether we grip with 4 fingers, with 3 fingers, or what have you. There's many interesting details that we'll get to see in this video. But that's the main thing we wanted to look at tonight, Bernardo, this idea that the number one problem you guys will face as students with open guard initially is going to be complexity. So many different options. And it's important we be able to knock them down into a manageable number. Because remember, guys, it's one thing to learn in Jiu-Jitsu, but it's not so much how much you learn in Jiu-Jitsu that counts. It's how much you can remember under stress. Because everything you do in the sport, you have to do it under stress. So if you've got 10,000 things running through your mind, you're never going to succeed. You've got to be able to bring it down to a manageable number. Bernardo, we talk about this all the time. Whenever you look at great athletes in Jiu-Jitsu, one of the hallmarks, one of the most common traits that we see amongst great athletes is their ability to reduce the number of moves that they use into a relatively small set
and maximize the efficiency
and maximize their applications.
I agree.
You don't see very many athletes with vast repertoires of moves. What you typically see is athletes with 2 or 3 guards in which they are extremely good, plus 3 or 4 guards which they're quite good, and then many, many applications within that domain. That's the pattern which you see among champions since the dawn of time. It's not about the breadth of the number of moves that you know, but rather the depth of the moves that you know. Learning to think conceptually and understand the underlying principles will make that journey on your part a lot easier. There's going to be a lot of individual choice on your part, so we're going to show a mountain of moves in this open guard series, but by fixating on the few basic underlying principles, it'll make that large amount of information a lot more manageable for you.
Yeah, but I think this video was the perfect example, right? Because you took 4 different moves, but with the same principle. So if you can learn that principle, you can do the 4 moves.
And we could have shown another dozen moves using the same principle.
Yeah.
So, yes. And that's how we want you working with this open guard video. We outline the principles and then we show how they apply across a wide array of moves.
No, that was awesome. So guys, this is like the open guard from the Go for the Faster series that we are doing, from the Fundamentals series. And I think like you're gonna be able to have the opportunity to learn all these details that I had never seen, like the way that John explained it, like how to make that grip. So super interesting. And I'm here in New York City. I knew John would be here. Could not miss the opportunity to learn from him again. So thanks so much, John. Appreciate it. And guys, it's gonna be on BJJFanatics.com soon. So maybe by the time you are watching, it's already there. So make sure to check that out. Please help me out to grow my YouTube channel. Just click subscribe. And to watch more videos, just click under see more videos. I hope you enjoyed.
BJJFanatics.com. Use the promo code YouTubeFaria to get 10% off any instructional video. Improve your jiu-jitsu faster.